I'm Allison Campbell, acting ALD for the Earth and Biological Sciences Directorate, and I'm here with Kirsten Hofmockel, who's the lead scientist for integrative science. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Kirsten.
So I was trained as an ecosystem scientist. My primary research area is understanding the interactions between carbon and nitrogen and how that affects ecosystem functioning. And because microbes are really important in the transformations of carbon and nitrogen, even though my questions are at the ecosystem scale, most of the work that I do is really at the microbial scale and looking at how plant-microbe interactions occur within the soil substrate.
So you obviously were standing in a field, so that must mean we're doing a lot of field work here?
A lot of field work. And so, one of the challenges is how do we, how can microbes matter in a large scale context? Right. But if we think back to even the evolution of the Earth, our atmosphere was formed 2.5 billion years ago by microbes in the oxygen revolution. So we know that microbes in their metabolic activity have a really strong impact on the atmosphere. And so that scaling part of how do we get from the single cellular up to the ecosystem or even the globe is one of the really exciting parts of the work we're doing.
So you're relatively new here to PNNL.
I am.
And you're in the EMSL. What attracted you to come here?
A real draw for me, because my work is very interdisciplinary, is the collaborative spirit and the boundaryless science that happens here. And so it was really exciting to be able to work with experts that they didn't really have boundaries. Like the people here are willing to think about lots of different kinds of questions in lots of different kinds of contexts. And I think that the innovative spirit and the courageous spirit, that people are pretty fearless here and they're willing to take on very hard and complex questions. And for me, that was super exciting. Cool. And plus, it's fun when you walk in and everyone's like, oh, there's 3 of these instruments on the globe and we have one of them, or this is the only instrument on the globe, right? So it's a pretty exciting place.
So you're charged with integrating the sciences across EMSL, and I would say even across the directorate. What does that mean to you?
So, one of the challenges is being sort of multilingual, and I think what I'm excited to do is, sit in a room and take the knowledge base from one scientific study or a group of, a big initiative and say, how does that apply in other places? And how can we bring different disciplines together and things that are already known and apply them in different contexts? And I think there's a lot to be discovered there between disciplines. And also I think because I'm coming at it from an ecosystem scale, that's actually less usual here, and that because it's molecular science that people are focusing on, that having that big scale perspective allows me to provide some applications for some of the great scientific tools that have been developed here, and the same questions.
Translating those processes that are occurring in the dirt, soil, and at a very small molecular level up to field and ecosystem.
Right.
I think that's fantastic, and it requires, like you said, people speak different languages. It requires chemists, it requires biologists, ecologists, computer scientists, perhaps.
Absolutely.
And, to bring them all together is pretty exciting. So.
Yeah, and I think the other exciting thing is having, all the modelers here that are, how do we generate data that are relevant to them, and how do we communicate so that we have currency that's exchangeable between disciplines?
Yeah, because ultimately we want to protect this environment, so we have to understand it so that we can, and how it responds to the changes in its environment so that we can protect it. And
absolutely.
And that requires modeling.
Right.
Cool. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.